Oh, look at me. I'm the first one.
Wait.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
I can hear somebody.
Okay, good.
I can't see you.
You're in my pocket. You're in my pocket, so that's why you can't see. And I'm breaking the place down.
You're in my pocket. I love it. I was like in the kitchen and I hear, can you guys hear me? I'm like, yeah.
Thanks. That's all I needed to know.
I'm waiting for my.
I had to run to the supermarket, so.
I get it.
What I've been doing all day. I was like
Supermarket?
Out, yeah. Like out shopping, and then I had to go to Target because we were out of toilet paper.
Oh no.
Did you find some?
Yes, luckily there was toilet paper and paper towels.
Oh, good. That's like a win-win. I think it's starting to become more easy to get.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That makes
A little bit.
All right, let's put you guys on gallery. All right. Grab my things.
Besides wearing a face mask and having to spray everything with alcohol at the supermarket, it's kind of nicer to go when it's like with like less people and like
I know.
everybody's like gives you space and
uh-huh.
if I wasn't suffocating under my mask.
People kind of look at you like you're a criminal though.
That's what I've been thinking. I'm like, all these
like,
good thing the stores aren't open. Criminals would be like on a rampage.
I know, like if I'm in someone's way, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, excuse me, and people just look at you. Like they just look at you like they're afraid of you, and I'm like, what, we can't be nice anymore? I find that like it happens in the supermarket to me.
I feel like people are way nicer lately.
That is good. It depends on where you go.
Yeah, it does.
Market Basket in Milford, I feel like everyone's just looking at everyone else like they're out to get them or something.
Right.
But
yeah, I've heard that. It's funny that you say that. I've heard that a couple times about like.
Yep.
I think Market Basket in general. I've heard that. Been hearing that from people. I don't go to the store. I just send Jeff. I'm like, you're already out in the world. You're already like, just go to the store.
Mom.
I've been kind of enjoying it, like getting out.
Mommy.
Yes. It's kind of nice.
I let my kids come with me to the store earlier today. We drove our bikes and I really was hesitant because we went to Dollar Tree because my daughter wanted pom-poms for a project and Michael's doesn't have any.
Yep.
So we drove our bikes, and I'm just like, don't touch anything. They wore their masks, and people are looking at me like, I'm like, don't touch anything. And they're looking at me like, why can't your kids touch anything? I'm like, duh, they're kids. I don't want anything on their fingers.
Right. Yeah.
I can't take my kids. No offense, you guys. But
That was their first time going. We went to the studio on the way and saw Jane, and I picked up my stuff, and they got to play on the hammocks, which they loved.
nice.
So we were out for hours. Then we had a picnic lunch sporadic because we were running so late because we spent so much time with Jane.
Aw.
So luckily there was like a fast food, not fast food, actually it was Greek,
Ooh,
a Greek place. So we ate that outside.
Greek sounds nice.
It was nice. It was nice
No,
to
my-
get out,
my next
like
door
out
neighbor
for
was-
real, like out
Yeah.
into society a little bit.
It's weird. This whole thing's weird. But yeah, my neighbor was just asking me, we ordered out Thai food. We haven't ordered out since this all started. And finally, like, this is how we order out in our house all the time. And my husband's like,
Who's talking? I can't hear you guys. Did you say you've ordered out? Let me see.
yeah, I ordered out.
I look
You
like a
can't hear me?
hunter.
You do look like a hunter. Great.
Where are you?
Market Basket.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Well, say hi to my husband. He's there too.
Oh, is he?
That's what she said when we started. She's like, sorry, you're in my pocket while I'm at the store. So how are you guys? How are we after a weekend of stuff?
Good.
Good.
Good, pretty
Yeah.
good.
Really liking the new book. I started reading it today. Upon seeing it, I wasn't too excited to read it, but very interesting. And I like the way it's formatted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I feel like
different.
it's a pretty approachable too. Like I don't have it right
Yeah.
here. I don't know.
I just
use
picked it up, so I haven't looked at it yet.
Right. That's okay.
So I think everybody has theirs, maybe, except for Melanie.
No, I got mine from Jody
Good.
yesterday. I got it.
Yay. Cool. So, just making sure that I'm not getting messages like, I can't get in.
It's loud over here. I'm gonna mute.
So how are we? Any questions? How have you guys been? I know I saw you yesterday. You're like, we just saw you yesterday. But what's going on in your brains? What's going on in your emotional state? You gotta love houses that were built in the 1800s. My kid's trying to get in to bring me my dinner, and she can't get the door open. Hey, thanks, hon.
Would you mind wiping this down? I actually just sprayed it, but by accident.
So yeah, what do you guys got? What are questions? What's going on?
I don't think I have any questions.
I have one quick question.
Hey guys,
Sure.
I can't hear you. If you can hear me, can you give me a thumbs up?
Is that you, Nicole?
Okay.
Yeah.
Can
No,
you
we can't
see me?
you. No.
No.
No. Okay. I can't hear anything. I'll keep figuring it out. All right. I'm here though. I'm here.
Thank you so much.
Oh, gotta love technology. Okay, so Tammy, you had a question?
I was practicing going through, I was looking up different things online today to get through the yoga, to help explain the yoga poses, the asanas. So it doesn't matter what type of yoga we do, right? If I want to do yin, I'm not going to do kundalini. But if I want to do yin, that's okay. Whatever. Okay,
Yep.
good.
What are you guys talking about? For what?
There she is.
We're just Tammy was just asking about if she could with the 3 poses to teach people if she could use any style of yoga.
I still can't hear them though.
Why don't you want to do Kundalini,
Who was
Tammy?
that that we just couldn't understand?
I don't know. No, it's not that I don't want to do kundalini. I just I'm just trying to break it up a little bit, get a
Okay.
little, trying to, because I've been engulfing myself in that and really nothing
Okay.
else. So I'm trying to get out like
Oh yeah.
actual poses and,
Yeah. Well,
not
and
that they're not actual poses, but
yeah, that's
you
what I
know.
was just gonna say.
I know.
But it doesn't matter what the
Yeah.
philosophy behind what you're teaching is going to be. All we're trying to do here is find the words
Yep.
to be able to get somebody into the shape that you want to get them in. Just like we kind of did playing around with down dog. It's the same idea. Like I said, okay, come up with what would you say? Like what are the words? What are the cues that you would give? How would you get somebody from point A to point B? Same thing. It doesn't matter what the pose is. It could be like a seated forward fold. It could be
Yeah, but exactly.
it could be something like fancy, like dancer. Like it doesn't matter what it is.
But I love the way you explained it too, that like I kept thinking, I mean, because we're new to this, I kept thinking that there was one way to get into that pose, maybe two ways.
Sure.
There's so many different ways to get into that pose. And I didn't realize that you could kind of customize it to yourself, that like the way you said it yesterday, whatever, just sort of clicked. And that was kind of a game changer for me, because I was like, oh, it's not as difficult as I'm making it out to be.
Right.
So it was good.
Good. That's good.
And Nicole, I saw a smile on your face. Can you hear and see now? Good.
Like we can see you.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I can see and hear you all now, and I feel like an idiot because my 13-year-old daughter had to take the tape off of the
I'm sorry.
off the camera.
Took 9102 off the card. If you want to
I've done that too.
Yeah.
It happens.
So I owe you
Yeah,
365.
yeah. I feel like a real bright light right now.
Right. You're like, oh.
Oh, that would help. Take the
That's
tape off the
great. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm
I know,
here.
it's funny the things you do, or you like set up and you're like, oh, I didn't realize that was like this on this.
Yeah, I'm looking right at the tape and didn't even. That's a sign of a long day, I guess.
Yes,
I'm just done.
for sure.
Can't
For
think
sure.
anymore. But I hear you all now, so that's good.
That's good.
Hey Pam, have you heard anything about Shay?
And I'll give you the 178 back.
I haven't. The last Melissa, I just muted you because you're doing an exchange. So I spoke with her, like she texted me on Friday. What day did we get together? Saturday. So it was like 1:00 in the morning on Friday, saying that she had to work on Saturday, but she would be there the next day, and then she wasn't here yesterday. So I haven't spoken with her since. I'm not sure what's going on.
I hope everything's okay.
I know. It doesn't look like because I had messaged her and said, well, if you're out, like whatever time, we'll be on until 2 if you want to hop on Saturday. And then I sent it by a Facebook Messenger, so I know she hadn't read it or hadn't seen it yet as of this morning. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was concerned. Noticed she wasn't on, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard back from her. Man, when you do that, when you go to like look for a message that somebody sent you, and I'm like from Saturday, like early Saturday morning, I'm like, wow, I get a lot of messages. Scroll. Yikes. So anyway, and what else is going on? So you guys are starting to figure out how to find language to teach some poses. Have you done any figuring that out? Like what you guys, other than, I know Tammy, you said you looked up some things. Anyone else?
Are you talking about the poses we want to teach, or just?
Yeah. Or anything that you might have a question about, we met a few weeks ago and we did we like broke down bridge pose. I'm happy to do some pose breakdowns if there are things that you guys are like, hey, I really want to figure this one out or whatever. That's fine.
No, I will say my 8-year-old is so impressed with himself because he came up to me in the middle of the day and said that he was able to do oh my God, what were we doing yesterday with the block? I'm drawing a
Crow pose.
Thank you. I want to say
That's
Cobra. It's been a long day, long day. So yeah, he'd been apparently practicing on the block because he saw me doing it yesterday, and he was all proud of himself because he stayed up for like 3 seconds, he said. So which is kind of cool because they're kind of getting into it, watching me do it. So it's kind of fun.
Just so you guys know, things like arm balances are the poses that you say to like your significant other. Hey, I learned this thing today. I've been working on it really hard and I just finally got, or I learned this thing and I've been working on it. Let me show it to you. And they're like, oh, you mean this? And then they do it like that. And your kids, children, and husbands, they're annoying
My husband
like that.
did it, and we almost got a divorce. I was like, I can't do crow, whatever. I was trying to get into like a headstand thing, and he's like, oh, this, and he just got into it, and I was like,
Yeah.
I swear to God, I'm just good night.
Yeah. Like, don't talk to me.
I'm very spiteful.
Right. That's a super common, that's one of those super common things that you see. You're like, how come, wait, I'm working how hard on this? And you just like pop into it.
You just, yeah, mastered it in 5 minutes. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kids are like that too because they don't weigh that much.
Right. So it's an unfair advantage.
My
Right.
kids were making their Barbies do yoga poses last night.
Oh, that's cute.
That's awesome.
I was like, yeah,
That's the cutest thing.
awesome. I was like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Marley used to ask for all the, she actually has a yoga Barbie. And she
Oh
used
my
to ask
gosh,
for-
those exist.
Yes.
We
just
need
ask,
those.
That's what she used to ask for, like yoga Barbie, gymnastics Barbie, all these Barbies that she could make do like headstands and try to do handstands and arm balances. And mom, look, she can do dancer pose. I'm like, great.
Yep.
Does she like
We need
yoga?
those.
Hmm?
Does she like to do yoga with you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, most of the time. She's 11 now. So sometimes she likes to do everything with me and sometimes she doesn't want to do anything with me.
No. I understand. I have one like that.
No, my 10-year-old isn't like that yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, Marley wants to do like, I didn't see you enough today when it's time for bed. But in the middle of the day when I'm like, hey, do you want to hang out? She's like, nah. Okay. Nice chat. Thanks. Yeah. Good time. So, all right. Let me think about where we're going.
I think I need more practice in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't really do well on my own. So,
Melissa,
and
you're the opposite of me. You get more motivation going somewhere and having someone do it versus doing it in your own home. For
Yeah,
some reason, I've always been the most motivated just doing it on my own.
at your own in your home. I
Yeah.
did.
Said they need more practice.
Melissa. I'm like pointing like you're like she's in the same spot on your TV screen that she is. I'm sure there. Right there.
That's the
When
one.
they say this
It's
is
for
the
me.
original Brady Bunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. And like I'm on my phone, so I just scroll to like see other
Right.
people. I don't see
My-
everybody.
I'm like that too, Melissa. It's taken me a long time. And it's part of the reason why I teach, honestly, and I continue to teach through this, because I'm like, okay, well, at least I'll move. Like, and I was just thinking today, like people are like, I have all these friends that are like, oh yeah, I'm like killing my workout program at home. And I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I was like, oh, I'm going to use the at-home version of this program that I use. And I haven't done it in 8 weeks because I haven't left the house. Because I go, oh yeah, I'm going to do it tomorrow morning. it up. No, it doesn't happen.
I
So-
tried to do some of your videos on my own, but you weren't there. Like, not that you would call me out if I wasn't doing it in front of you, which you could, but like
Mhm.
watching the
lost
video
her.
and you weren't live, I was just like, I don't know, I just wasn't there.
Mhm.
Oh, it's a different aspect, I guess. Going
and it's-
somewhere and being in a class versus
And it's a good realization to have about yourself too, that even if you're like, okay, even if you need, even if it's just like, I just need the person on the other end of the screen to be there actually on the other end right now. That might be, but I'm the queen of like buying, like even Matt has had a bunch of classes that he's had on sale, and I'll like buy the class and I'm going to practice it later. I have one that he sold 2 years ago called
and you haven't
Bliss-
done it.
No, called Bliss Flow. That's him and Kevin Paris is playing the music. And I was like, I definitely want to buy that. I definitely want to do that practice. I'm going to practice it all the time. I've never even turned it on.
I always
Oh.
did better in classes, like going to the gym. I kind of like, if I got on the treadmill, it's like 5 minutes. But if I go to like a 60-minute class, I'll do the whole thing, and it's just and it's fine because you're like there. But just doing it on your own. I mean, the Zoom isn't too bad. Like, you know, Sunday I couldn't really hear you good, so it wasn't the best time. But the other times that I've done Zoom with you, like Thursday night was great. Previously, I was in pain for days, so I did it good. But
Yep. Yeah, it is hard. It's an adjustment, and it's an adjustment as a student, and it's an adjustment as a teacher. I just said to somebody this morning, I can't wait to be back in a room with people where I can go around and touch bodies and be like, do this way, do this way, or, you know, just be able to actually see you.
yeah.
Yeah, I
definitely-
wonder.
Oh, go ahead.
I wonder if, because I'm sure there's a bunch of yoga instructors from other places, you know, doing videos. I wonder if they're restructuring how they say things, because the person on the other end could be like, oh yeah, I could do this, but obviously we've been doing stuff wrong forever. So it's like you don't want someone to virtually get in the habit of doing something completely the wrong way if the teacher's not there to be able to correct them
Right.
and see them. So I wonder, I don't know, just like a thought I just had.
I think it
wonder
just
if they're,
depends on the
like-
teacher,
Right.
you know, because like we've all been doing it wrong, and we've all gone to classes, and those other teachers didn't get us to do it right.
Right.
We were doing it wrong in class
Yeah.
with them.
Yeah, and I think that I think that the teachers out in the world that are really trying to be intentional about how they offer a practice, and I don't mean like necessarily even spiritually intentional, I mean like physically intentional, so that the practice is safe for the body, are teaching classes that are a little bit easier than they normally do, like a little bit simpler, a little bit more straightforward. Less kind of complex stuff is what I've been seeing. And not fitting as much in because they're taking longer to cue. They're like telling you more things. And if you're not used to telling, like if you're used to saying it and doing it and having the person, if you're used to show, you know, you blah, 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 you know, warrior two, and then you do it and the person next to you does it, or the class that you're teaching does it, you don't build the skills in your language to learn how to teach in this format, you know, this
I mean, the
online.
truth is there'll probably be a whole bunch of better yoga teachers after this.
Hopefully, yeah.
I know, like, I saw my parents and my sister today because we met for a walk in the woods, and I was like, I have to show you this. We've been doing chaturanga and downward dog wrong the whole entire time. Like, I have to show you how to do it the right way.
I know,
Like-
it's so excited to show my husband the right way to do downward dog.
Yeah. It's
Do you
fun.
guys remember how to do it correctly? Because I don't really remember how to do it correctly.
How to do what? Down dog?
Like down dog. Both. All of it.
what
It's
are
just
the things?
it's practice. Just keep doing
Yeah.
it, and the muscle memory will click in. I had to keep kind of like looking back and like, oh, I forgot to do that. But now I think I do it right. I can't wait to get back into class and have you tell us. But I think I'm finally doing it right. So
So
if
yeah.
not,
Well, definitely the
learning
chaturanga,
wrong.
those videos of Pam's friend that she posted at the very beginning were so helpful. I watched it like a few times, like over and over and over again. But that what's his name again?
Matt.
Your
Matt.
friend
Yeah.
Matt? Yeah, it was. Those videos were super helpful.
Yeah, all of his videos are. If you go to his YouTube, I'm like, wow, this is really cool. So it's like clicking on all of his videos, watching a bunch.
Yep.
Very cool.
I forgot about it again. Last time you guys mentioned it, I realized I hadn't done it. So
You're like, oh, right.
I'm going to put that on my list.
Yeah, it's helpful. And there are so many people that have videos on you. There are so many yoga teachers with videos on YouTube that do pose breakdowns or do like do a blog and have a video that goes along with it. And so not necessarily even practices, but stuff that you guys can kind of dive into a little bit more. And I saw somebody the other day, I don't know who she is. I have like, I don't know, 1,000 friends on Facebook that are yoga teachers that I don't even know, that have just like friend requested me. And I'm like, who are you? Oh, look at that. We have 125 friends in common. Yeah, sure, fine, whatever. And somebody was like, oh, I'm offering this thing for other yoga teachers. And she had like did a Facebook Live and it like popped up in my thing, like this Facebook Live. And so I like paused and listened to it for a moment. And she was like, the focus of this is really for other yoga teachers, for figuring out like, the language to use while teaching online or whatever, So there's all these things, there's all these resources out there right now. So it's actually a really great time for you guys to be in a training because it offers you the opportunity to be like, what else is out there? Matt's got some great stuff, but there's lots of people with great stuff. Matt, the thing that you guys will probably appreciate about Matt is that the way that our teaching style is very similar. And so because of that, because you've been practicing with me, it's like when you've only practiced at like, let's say, New Hampshire Power Yoga, right? You've only practiced a vinyasa, fast-paced vinyasa class. And then you come to a class where somebody gives you all these cues and tells you to do all of these things. You're like, whoa, overwhelm, right? But the other end is true as well. If you've only practiced with somebody that cues all these different things and helps you find the engagement, and then you go to a class somewhere where somebody says warrior 2, chaturanga, up dog, down dog, you're like, what is this? And so Matt and I have a very similar teaching style, and use a lot of the same language, that common thread, that chromatic thread of the language piece it comes from him. So, because he's one of my teachers. So that it's interesting to watch. It's really kind of fun when you get to practice with teachers that have a bunch of students that teach, to practice with those students who are now teachers and be like, hey, I can see this person's influence there. I love going into Boston and taking classes and being like, oh, this person, I'm like, did you do training with Amy Wren? They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, you can tell. So it's just kind of interesting to see that, because we all develop a style, and then our students kind of take that and then morph it into their things. But you'll see like little bits and pieces, right? It's like when you meet a friend's sibling, and you're like, whoa, you guys have the same mannerisms, things like that. It's kind of an interesting teacher to student who becomes a teacher to student kind of dynamic. But yeah, there's tons. I encourage you, if you have time or when you have time, to just like jump on YouTube and get like, maybe you give yourself an hour and you kind of go onto YouTube and get sucked down a rabbit hole of yoga cueing, and figuring out what people are saying and doing. And I'm sure I'm like,
Yeah, there's probably tons and tons and tons.
like the first one that came up was how to cue yoga poses awesomely, part 1.
Awesomely. That's funny.
Yeah. Yeah, there's all sorts of interesting, like, even just watching people's videos, even just like hopping on and watching somebody's like sun salutations, or if you just went onto YouTube and searched down dog, I could type.
Yeah, I found some videos yesterday on cueing down dog.
Yeah,
There's some on sun salutation, like there's everything.
Yep.
Is out there.
Does
Yeah.
anybody ever just want to punch their husband?
Are we taking account? Do you need a head count?
That was so out of the blue right
Why are you sitting in the car?
What's that?
Why are you sitting in the car?
Well, I just got home from Market Basket, so I just told him to come get the groceries, so he's getting it. If I go in, it's just, they're in there.
They're in there.
It's better if I just stay out here.
Those other people.
Yeah, I'm just gonna stay in the car for a
I
little
might
while.
just stay here. Might even just stay out here all night. Just
Melissa, it's so funny how your name says Xenia. Is that your daughter's name?
Oh yeah, I'm on her phone right now because my phone has a problem with the SIM card, so I can't I can only do Wi-Fi.
Right. So that's the road that me and Wally are off of. So it's just funny to see that.
Yeah, we talked about that when because you told me where you lived, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
my daughter, Senya Street. Yeah, it's right there.
I'm like, that's the road right there.
Yep.
That's funny.
You're like, I'm so glad, honey, I'm so glad you have a cell phone. I'm taking that with me.
Yeah, thank goodness, because otherwise I'm like not in. I can't get through to anyone about my phone. I tried Sprint, and they're like, go online and contact us there. So, and then I did a chat, and I got disconnected. And I'm like, whatever. I barely go out anyway. I'll figure it out sooner or later.
Like, eventually we'll all be out of our houses, and then
And I'll need my phone then.
Right. Oh man. Yeah, so taking the opportunity though seriously, like using YouTube, and it's a great opportunity actually as you find people to like subscribe to their channels, check out their websites, get on their mailing lists, and like let them send you some stuff. And then if you're like, this stuff sucks, then you just unsubscribe. I can't tell you how often I do that.
So, Boho Beautiful they're on Patreon, and they have this like this.
Oh my God, I love that.
So I thought of you because I signed up, and it's pay as you can, as low as $1 a month. So it's whatever you can pay, as low as $1 a month, and you get access to all kinds of videos that they have available that aren't even on YouTube. So I like watching a lot of her videos. Part of it is I like how they film in all these amazing places, and
I know I just like clicked on that. I'm like, oh
my God, I
right
love
now.
them so much.
But
it's not even funny.
Yeah, but I've enjoyed just kind of watching her style. Some of her stuff is really advanced, and I'm just like dying trying to get through it. But but that's just kind of cool because for $1, if that's what people can pay, you have access to a lot of videos.
Right.
So.
Right.
And I looked up because you mentioned Wanderlust yesterday, and I have to admit I didn't know what Wanderlust was. And then you mentioned Skylar Grant. I'm like, I know that name. And then I remembered she was Diana Berry from Anna Green Gables, and now she's this yoga teacher. So I looked her up today, and I looked up Wanderlust and the Kripalu studio, and so that was kind of cool. Kind of looking up some new things today.
Yeah. Cool.
I would love to go to Wanderlust. Maybe next year, because they canceled it this year. I can't believe they had to cancel the whole entire tour.
They did, and they pulled it the entire U.S. tour. They pulled it like at the very start of all this. They were like,
I know.
Wanderlust is
out of
gone.
there.
for the whole year. We were like, what?
The whole year, not even like, okay, maybe till X day or whatever.
What's really interesting is it's got to be, there's something going on, like because they canceled their US tour. This is not a US issue.
Right.
I'm like,
That's weird.
Huh.
but they've had weird stuff before. So yeah, another great place to kind of look at if you guys, thinking about yoga and thinking about, like, I know some of you are like, oh, I would love to go to Kripalu and get away and blah, blah, blah. Omega Institute is another great place, which is in Rhinebeck, New York, which is also a couple of hours.
Yeah.
That
It's
place
a beautiful little town.
It is. And the Omega is great. They have great offerings. It's very rustic. I mean, Kripalu is like rustic-ish, but like, I don't know. There's just, it's definitely a little bit more rustic than Kripalu, which is fine. It's a smaller campus. But it is pretty cool as well. And they have some really great offerings there as well. And especially for those of you that do other things. So if you do energy, Reiki and energy work stuff, or massage, or like even nutrition or whatever, they have all these kind of different trainings. They have a lot of continuing education stuff for yoga teachers and for other fields, which is kind of cool to be like, oh, I'm going to Kripalu to do I gotta go get these CEUs to keep up my certification or my license, and so I'm gonna go to Kripalu to do that. So I've done that. I'm like, oh, look, social work. Oh, social work. Oh, social work. Oh, social work. I'll go to that. So.
And what's it's just Omega?
Omega Institute.
Omega Institute. Cool.
Omega.
Does Kripalu ever have just weekend things?
Yeah, all the time.
Weekend. Okay, cool. Because I'm like, I always want to do something at Kripalu, but I can't just leave my family for a week.
So Kripalu has
you can do a day pass.
You can do a day pass, and you can also they have a thing called R&R, which you could do 2 days of R&R, and you can take all the yoga classes you want, and all the food's included, and there's speak talks that you can go to, but it's not it's not like you're gone for a specific training or workshop. You can just take whatever's going on.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and they have a spa.
Like
post baby, man. Right.
That sounds amazing.
I always wanted to do that. Just be like, peace, you guys. I'm going to the spa.
Yeah, right.
So, I've had a lot on my plate. Gave birth and all. You can take the baby.
Yes.
Bye.
The human was just in my loins. I think.
Right. Yeah. So I strongly encourage. Oh, the other thing that I wanted to bring up to you guys, I know we were talking a little bit about, we were talking about spirituality and connecting. I know that there's a lot of you that are interested in that, chanting, those types of things. And Krishna Das is he's a dude from New York, but he's traveled to India and he does kirtan. And he grew up in New York. He lived in Massachusetts. So he's at Kripalu often. He's in Boston often. And right now he's been doing live kirtan online for free or for donations or whatever. So he has recordings everywhere. He's on Spotify. He has, I don't know, some ridiculous amount of albums, but he also has some really cool talks. And I've done that. I've got in the car and instead of listening to a podcast, I've listened to talks by Krishna Das. And he,
Oh yeah, heard of him.
How do you spell his name again?
It's Krishna, Krishna, and then Das, Das.
Was that the guy who spoke about the Wheel of Time, the older man?
No.
No, I'm thinking of someone else. Okay, never mind.
No.
I think I've
familiar.
Yeah, it's familiar to me too.
Play that music in the
I'm
studio.
Sure. Yeah.
That's how I know him.
Probably from Pam, right? Telling us.
Yeah.
Oh, you're like, that sounds familiar. Did you say that before? And he's got an album, like, you know, back in the day, albums. I guess they still call them that. Called, I want to say it's The Pilgrimage. But he has Pilgrim of the Heart in that, and within that time frame, there's a couple of Pilgrim of the Hearts. And they are, and then he's got workshop samplers all on, so I'm on Spotify, but they're all over the place. So he's got all these different workshop samplers where he actually, because he gives talks and then he does kirtan, and then he'll give you the story of the of like being with the Dalai Lama, and then he'll like move into some singing, and then he'll like come back and talk more about, you know, his friends and his journey and what that was like. And he's on YouTube as well. There's some interviews with him and him interviewing other people. He's kind of a really interesting character and really easy to listen to, really funny. So it's not one of those, like, you know, sometimes you listen and you're like, oh, why is she making me listen to this? Or why did I say yes to this thing? He's really kind of an interesting guy to listen to. Yeah, and I use his music for, I use it a lot, but I definitely use it for Shavasana often. I haven't been using it online because it causes my yoga videos to be pulled down from YouTube. I mean, yeah, pulled down.
Right.
They're like licensing infringement, pulling your video down. I'm like, okay, I won't listen
It's
to
weird.
that.
It's not like you're saying you made this song up.
Right. I know, and actually I got a licensing notification. Marley, we recorded Marley frosting cupcakes for her school thing at school, and the video is too large. And of course, this is what I do, right? I like take a video, I edit it, I throw it on YouTube, and I send the link out. So I did that. I got a notification immediately because we had music on in the background. Like, you know, this thing happening, but as long as you're not monetizing, it doesn't appear as though you're trying to monetize this video, so we'll let it slide. Okay.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So it's craziness. Trying to think of what other.
I was searching mudras this morning just out of like curiosity on YouTube. That was kind of a fun spiral to fall down for a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and Jane's got, when we're back in the I was gonna say office, back at the studio, Jane has has cards that have mudras. They're all the different mudras on them. I have a mudra book. I have a mudra book for kids. I have a regular mudra book for the rest of us humans. But I really like the cards because it has it's got like the mudra, it's got the chakra that it's related to. So it's like the cards are all color coded. And then like a little description or like a little information about it and why it's, like, I don't know, beneficial.
Yeah, I would like to look at that.
Yeah, it's a cool little set of cards. There's lots of resources like that out there, like whether it's for mudras or for different mantras. And I actually looked up not yesterday, I think it was Saturday, after we met with Rebecca, and I was like uploading the videos and stuff. I was like, I'm gonna look up, and I just I looked up the transcendental, you know, like if you've ever looked up, has anybody ever looked into transcendental meditation before? It's one of those weird things that, like, if you look it up, it's like a secret cult. Like,
what is it?
Transcendental meditation. Yeah. It's what like all the Hollywood people use. Like that's their form of meditation. And so when we were doing So Hum, like in our meditation with Rebecca, that's essentially what it is. So it's the vibration, and you're assigned a vibration. And so when I just happened to like look up like TM mantras and sound vibration, whatever. I was like kind of like searching around, and I found this list of like the mantras that you are given based on age. So like down as low as like, I don't know, like 6 years old or something. But it's really interesting. And Tammy did this when she was like when I was talking about it. It's super, super expensive, and it's only taught one-on-one. And you have to like interview with your teacher to see if they decide that you're I don't know. I'd probably have enough money in your bank account, but who knows?
Is it new?
No, it's been around for a little while.
Like, what do you mean, like a little while, like 80s, 90s or something? Or like, is it like an older meditation?
So it's based on the Vedic meditation. It's based on the Vedic meditation that Rebecca did with us. But it's like I don't know when it, Jane, I don't know if you have any idea. I don't know how long, like.
I mean, just for them to have it as a secret and like, charge all this money, I'm thinking it must be something newer, because something ancient, I mean, you can't really. I mean, I guess you could have secret ancient.
Hasn't someone secretly shared this on YouTube at all? I haven't looked it up yet, but I can't imagine. There's gotta be something out there, right?
That's what I mean. Like, how do you not find anything on something that if it's old? I mean, if it's a newer thing that they've just kept secret and that's just how they do it, then maybe, yeah. Just curious.
1965.
Oh, so old, a little bit older.
Yeah, that's what it looks like. I mean, it looks like that's where it. Yeah, that's when I was like, yeah, kinda. I mean, like not really old when you look at yoga. Right, where you're like, oh, I don't know, somewhere between 3,000 and 5,000 years old, but like older than me.
Think Woodstock hippies.
Yeah, and it's very much like David Letterman, Jerry Seinfeld, and they all talk about it. They're like, they talk about it being this, this thing, right? And I don't know, it's so fascinating. Has anybody ever, this is how my brain works, right? I just went like this, whoop. Has anybody watched the new, Jane, you have, because you're the one who told me about it, the new Fab Five? What's that show?
Queer Eye. Oh my God, I love them.
that group of guys. So what's his name? Jonathan? Johnny? John? What's his name? How does he?
Yeah.
Whatever. He's like a hairdresser, right?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah, so
I want them to be my best friends.
But Karamo is the spiritual guy.
Yeah, well, so but the Johnny or whatever his name is does an interview with David Letterman while he's shaving. He's trying to get him to shave his beard. He's like, doing all this stuff with him, and they start talking about meditation. And he's like, oh my God, I love meditation. I do meditation all the time. And it's really, really interesting to listen to David Letterman talk about, he doesn't really talk about transcendental meditation, but he kind of is like, if you don't do transcendental meditation, you don't actually meditate. All these people that go to yoga classes and say they meditate. I was like, whoa. So TM is judgmental? Is that what I'm hearing? But it's just kind of an interesting, but I mean, it's based in like the Vedic, transformative meditations, which is, great. It's a mantra meditation where, Rebecca was talking about, you don't necessarily know the meaning. You're meditating on the sound vibration. Yeah. So
we had two before Christina came down and did a 200-hour at my studio. Christina's my YTT teacher. And Pam's heard this. She did a chanting meditation, sort of like similar idea. during a Reiki session or Reiki training stuff, and virtually Kale, Pam's heard me talk about Kale. I don't think any guys, I've talked about him much with you guys, went into a trance. Took him almost 15 minutes to like get his stuff together and just remember even where he was.
Wow.
So, the most amazing experience he ever had.
Yeah.
Well, on the list.
Right. Yeah, and I mean that's the thing about using chanting, is that it does the vibration of it does allow you to kind of peel away the layers of the physical and kind of go deeper than that. And we go back to like the teachings when we were looking at the koshas, right? It kind of brings you to those deeper layers, those two inner, heading down towards Anandamaya kosha, for sure.
So speaking of Rebecca, so the couple times she's been on, I was looking at her face and I was just like, I have this strange thing where I feel like I've seen her before. And as soon as she said, oh yeah, I was a licensed, massage therapist and all this stuff, I'm like, I must have seen you at like a class or something. I have to message her. And because like the last class on Saturday, as soon as she said that, I'm like, that's exactly how I know.
Like that's got to be
from
it.
somewhere. That has to be it. Like I always get those feelings like when I see people. I'm like, I swear I've seen you somewhere before. Like I remember faces. I don't remember names or anything. I remember faces. So as soon as like I saw her the first time, I'm like, I feel like I've seen her before, and so I have to message her now.
That's funny. It is oh my god, Melissa.
That's
She
funny.
thought she was gonna get to have time in the car by herself.
How did a kid get in there? That's funny.
Yeah, that doesn't.
I'm like, go away. I'm like, and my other one left, and she like snuck in the back, and I didn't even know she was there. Yeah, that's Jane.
2 times in one day.
I know. Look at that.
It's amazing. So I'm going to encourage you guys to kind of look into, and you can search kirtan. You can search like, chanting or whatever. If it's not something that you've already kind of, had the opportunity to experience. You also, like Tammy, I know you've been doing more Kundalini stuff. So if you're interested, if you're like, oh, I'd love to do some Kundalini, but where, like Tammy has found some resources for that, for sure. Sounds like.
Yeah.
So like utilize each other. Be like, hey, what have you found? Have you guys, who's found what thing?
It's funny that you mention it because I was just I haven't been a chanter until yoga teacher training. And then I found the Kundalini. Then I've been doing the chanting, and I just, right before the call, I ended doing one because the family was out. I still feel funny being too loud sometimes, but I'm starting to get over it. But I've been doing the Rama Dasa Sase Sohung. And there are, you just look that up on YouTube. There are beautiful things to follow and just different, I don't know. It took me, it was nice. I actually got to a nice Zen place, and I feel so much better. So I don't know. Those of you who haven't done chanting, it's good.
I love it too. My husband thinks I'm a total loop. Like when he hears me and sees me doing the things that I do, he's like, you have lost your mind. I'm like, no, you haven't found yours yet.
It's so funny though, like this is so common in so many different parts of the world. People start from infants and we're embarrassed to do it, but it's just culture. It's just so weird, whatever.
To us, it's like taboo, or to Americans, it's a Western.
Yeah. I guess it's more socially acceptable to pay $1,000 to learn meditation. I guess at that point, then it's cool. I don't know. Then we can chant because we paid a lot of money for it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, you talk.
If you're famous, it's okay.
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah. So, yeah, cool. I think that I can see that being, for a lot of you guys, I can see that being a really kind of positive experience to add in some chanting or some mantras, and just starting to explore a little bit, like, what are the things you like? And you might find, like, you might be like, I don't really, this doesn't really resonate with me. This kirtan doesn't really resonate with me. And the difference between chanting and kirtan is a song. It's a story that's told in song format that is similar in a lot of ways, has a lot of the repetitive sounds that you hear in chants, but it's different in that way. It's different. And it's like something that's often sung in call and response. It's something that's often like large groups of people come together and like go to performances to listen to kirtan performers, of which Krishna Das is one. And then there's a ton of them. So if you're on if you're on Spotify, if you're on, even just like hopping on YouTube and punching his name in, or somebody else that you're like, oh, I've heard this person, or this person has a beautiful voice, or whatever. It will lead you down, like it'll give you all these recommendations. When I go into Krishna Das and I click on it, it's like, you might also like, fans also like Jai Ital, Bhagavan Das, Deva Pratal, like, yep. So it's a really easy kind of rabbit hole to fall down. And yeah. Any thoughts or questions or anything you want to add about that?
I was just gonna say, I found this app, the Deepak, it's Oprah and Deepak, Deepak Chopra. So right now he's got a free meditation experience, the 21-day meditation. So it starts off with Oprah talking, and then he talks, and then you get into the meditation, and then, but you're doing a mantra, throughout it, which is kind of cool. So I have that on my phone. Awesome. So that's kind of my spirit. But I'm trying to get into it. I'm working on it.
If it feels right to you, when you're ready, you're ready. If it calls to you and it's pulling you, then you'll do it when you're ready, and you don't have to force it.
Right. Well, I find like he'll say what the mantra is, and then he'll repeat it with you a few times, and then so I can say it while he's saying it, and then it's like he has a bell, and then you kind of do it silently, and then he'll ring the bell when it's over. But then while I'm doing it I'm like, what was it again?
I write it down.
What am I saying? Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because then I get all tripped up on my words, and I'm like, well, what does that mean again? And that's a good idea. And then I lose it. So.
Yeah, especially when it's in Sanskrit, or a language you don't know, it's even harder. So I always write it down, so then I can like repeat it, and I'll write it down. Sometimes I write it down wrong, like I'll write it down the pronunciation way, so I continue saying it correctly. Mm-hmm. Maybe the correct spelling and the way to pronounce it, so then I say it right.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
And that's a great resource when you're teaching as a teacher. If you're like want to use chanting, it's great to have little printouts of like the chant that you're going to be doing, so people can take it with them, so that they can look at it. You'll have visual learners that need to see.
Stick it to the wall.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Right. I'll try it again tomorrow morning before I have my coffee and breakfast.
And I think the thing that's really valuable in the whole meditation thing to remember is that, and Rebecca she really focused on this idea that we start in the brain right? We start with our thinking mind. And sometimes we stay in our thinking mind for a really long time, and that's okay. And then eventually the thinking mind starts to shift and go away. And when you learn something new, if you have a new like kirtan or chant or a mantra that you're repeating, and you're like, God, what is that again? You're in your thinking mind, and that's okay. There's benefit to that too. And then eventually that chant, it becomes, you find the mantra that you're like, that's the one I want to repeat all the time because I really like it. I like how it felt. I like whatever about it. Then you go back there and you use that one over and over again. And then you don't have to think about it anymore. You're not like, oh, what's that thing again? I don't remember what that second syllable was. And I don't remember what that word was. And did I write that down wrong? I think I got that wrong. And I heard somebody else say this and whatever. That's like hanging in the thinking mind. And that's like that's essentially, if we're 2 layers, I mean, we're more than that, but if we were 2 layers, the thinking mind from a meditation standpoint is like layer 1. It's like the topsoil, and we just have to dig down beneath that, and that just takes time. So, and it's not like it's going to be X amount of time. It's like, it could be like 2 days, or it could be like 2 years. Doesn't matter.
And speaking of meditation, so this morning I was like super excited that it was like nice out, like I could go sit outside and have my coffee. And so when I was sitting there for a few minutes, I'm like, okay, because I usually do, like Rebecca said, to try meditation, you know, without a guide, without someone telling you what to do. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to do that. So I sat there and I actually did it for, I didn't set a timer because I didn't want to, but, and I sat there, I felt like it was probably about between 10 and 15 minutes. And, and part of me was like, what do I focus on? And so then I ended up, doing the breathing, you know, like, belly, diaphragm, chest, whatever, and just doing it through and just focusing on the breathing. And then I ended up saying affirmation like to myself at the same time, and it was actually really nice. And because I'm not, I usually like, you know, do a guided meditation. So this morning I was able to do that, and it ended up being really good. So, and it was while probably half my cup of coffee was drank, but I was good.
Like enough. I had enough that I like turned myself on enough that I could manage it, but not so much that I couldn't stay there. Yeah.
The same thing happened to me today. Like I actually had wicked bad insomnia and just gave up at like 6. I was like, well, okay, I've got time. So
before the kiddos
did my humming bee breath today, and that, I don't know, that was like super fun. Yes, because Melanie saw them like hurting out of my car and was just like,
they're
adorable. So it was a good way to start the day instead of like them being like, Mom. So I think I need to do that more. I think I need to. I really don't want to commit to that idea though.
Or you're like, I'd like to sleep until the last minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to start trying
me.
to go to bed earlier so I can get up. Like, I want to get up with the sun. My goal is to get up with the sun and meditate every day. But I love sleeping so much.
I'm a big fan
No,
of
I've always been about that. I'm like, I wish I could just live without like technology and clocks and just go to bed when it's dark and wake up when the sun comes up. Like, I don't care about clocks. I just want to, the sun is my clock. Like, I would love to do that.
When I'm camping, I do that. I'm up with the sun camping, and I'm down with the sun. Like, my husband will be up drinking, whatever. I don't drink. And I'm like down with the sun, up with the sun when I'm camping. I don't use a clock, but at home it's different. You're home.
And guys, I just wanted to say goodbye. We're doing dinner, and then we have another Zoom call, a family Zoom call. But thank you so much. And I don't know if this is recorded, right? Is it going much further? Should I?
Recording? No, it's not going much further. You're good.
Okay. Have a great night. I will talk to you guys all soon.
Good night.
Okay.
Bye, Tammy.
Any last minute questions?
Oh, I do have one.
Yeah.
So when we're seeing colors, when you're telling us to see colors, what does that mean? Does that mean that like you're unblocking that chakra, or that you need to work on? Like what's
Yeah.
Well, what does it feel to you?
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Ooh. Okay.
What does it feel to you? It's
I saw like
different.
a really nice orange. So I'll be there in a minute. So I guess that means maybe I'm doing something good. I don't
It
know.
could be good. It could, yeah, it's whatever you feel like, I think, right?
Yeah.
Pam, like, everybody's different. You can't really get that kind of information outside for your personal. I feel like you got to get it from the inside, but if you're new to like chakras and stuff like that, then you just need to learn about it. But if you're seeing orange, I think that that's beautiful. I think it's a beautiful yellowy orange that I see for you. And I think that, you might be seeing your chakra there. I don't know what.
And what did that one mean?
The second chakra.
That's your second. That's like where your fertility and all your intestines and like, you know, looks
Right.
like
It's also is linked to our because it's fertility and reproductive organs. It's linked to our those relationships as well.
Mm-hmm.
Have any of you
really,
guys?
I really don't want another baby.
It doesn't necessarily mean that. It
mean
might
baby,
just
no.
mean like it might just
It could be
mean
really
like
healthy. You have
Yeah.
really healthy.
yeah, could have something to
Okay.
do with the connection with your kids or whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh
All
no,
right.
you're
Let's go with that.
relieved.
Yeah. Please no. Nope. Tapped out.
It could also mean maybe you got to focus on that for healing traumas that you could have in that area, you know, but
Oh, dude.
it seems like you're seeing the color really.
Literally just nailed that like so hard. Like, wow.
Good job. Good
Spot
job.
on. That's exactly what it is. Thanks,
Like,
buddy.
Oh, okay.
I'm actually trying to get into therapy to like deal with it because I'm like, I can't be like a fraud, like, you know, yoga teacher. Like, I got to figure this out. I don't really want to, but I think I need to. So
Yeah.
I guess that orange makes sense.
Yeah. So it's calling you. That's great. It's calling you to focus there and to release.
Ooh, that's kind of scary. See, I don't know any of the spiritual stuff. Like, I don't know that kind of. So that's really interesting. I think that's the first time that's actually sparked some interest.
You're like,
Yeah.
I could read. We could sit together. We could do a Zoom, Jody, and I could read you some cards and we can get you some.
Fun.
Yeah, it's so
Have
fun. I love it.
Have any of you guys read Anatomy of the Spirit?
No.
No?
who's the author? Do you know?
I have to look it up. I have the book somewhere in my house. I haven't actually read it. My husband has read it, and he said it's about all the chakras. He said it's awesome. Somewhere in the house. I need to find it and read it. But yeah, just putting it out there.
I know I'm like looking it up. I'm doing like that was not like a I'm not interested. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I'm looking it up too.
Oh, Carolyn Miss. Okay.
Have you heard of it?
You know the author?
I know of the author, yeah.
So this is the, can you see? Anatomy of the Spirit.
That's
Yes,
awesome.
yep. Yeah, she's like a PhD something or other.
Yeah, and it gets into all the chakras and.
Oh, you found it? Oh no, that was Nicole's phone.
Yeah, it's my phone.
Your phone, yeah.
Nicole,
Yeah.
can you post that to the group on Facebook?
Yeah, of course.
A screenshot?
Of course. Yeah.
Thanks.
Sure. Yeah. And if I can ever find the book, I'll bring it in next time we get.
My biggest struggle with books is always, now, do I buy them on Audible or do I get it on my Kindle app or do I buy the physical book? And usually what happens is I do all three.
Oh God.
Start with one and then I'm like,
Overspending.
I know.
You're a digital book hoarder.
I'm a book hoarder for sure.
Book hoarder.
Guess there are worse things that you could be, but yeah. for sure. Cool. Any other thoughts, questions, things that are? Okay. Alex, were you just eating ice cream?
Yes.
Good for you.
I was like, I'm always eating.
I finished mine yesterday.
I know my husband's really good about. He and Marley are like ice creamers for sure, and he's always really good about like picking up. Like I think there's Klondike bars in there right now, like picking up. You know, he goes to like
That's my
BJ's and
next
gets a
move.
big thing of like Haagen-Dazs ice cream bars. I'm like, oh, that's good.
From Costco, because that's what we have in our freezer.
Yeah. We go to BJ's, but yeah, same thing. 15 of them that they ate in a week. I was like, what the hell?
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, great. Anyway,
Our whole family just went vegan. So I'm like, but I really need some ice cream. So I was like searching so hard for like a vegan.
Oh,
ice cream
Alex,
thing
I
that-
get this brand that's made, it's coconut milk. and
Yeah.
it's so good. That's
That's
what I
what
had
I
last
found.
night. It was so good.
what did you just have? Are they so delicious?
Yes.
So
Yep.
delicious. So to
Is it?
get you
I
guys
think it.
So delicious.
to get you guys psyched up for Wanderlust. So delicious is usually at Wanderlust, so maybe next year. And
Yeah.
they give out
Ooh.
ice cream all day. They give out ice cream bars all day long,
Yes.
every day. And like, and then they'll scoop and like give you, and you'll be like, "Can I have 3?" And they're like, "Sure." I don't care.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so good.
I
And
was
they're-
in Lowell the other day. Have any of you been to Life Alive? It's a cafe
Yes.
in Lowell. Oh my god, I used to live down the street, and they're like, I went and I was like, oh my god, I missed it so much. I really miss Lowell. I loved Lowell and I loved Life Alive, but they make their own coconut ice cream and it's so good.
So good.
It's really good.
Ooh.
I should try to do that. I should just try to make my own ice cream.
Oh yeah, we do that too.
So I just want ice cream like at least every night.
I can understand that. I was vegan for a really
At
long
least.
time, so I know all those things for sure. But yeah, Life Alive is fantastic too. If you haven't been there,
Love them.
They've got
Love
all
them.
sorts of.
Sounds familiar, but I don't think I've been.
Oh, you would love it.
Cambridge,
There's in
Lowell, and
Cambridge, yep.
Salem.
There's
New
like
Hampshire,
they have like 5 now, I think. I think there's like 3 in Boston. Like I think
Oh.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. They have a few.
Yeah,
they have a
definitely
lot.
gonna have to check that out.
So beautiful and I love it. It's so delicious. I think it's vegan vegetarian because I think they have cheese.
They do.
Yeah, they do, right? It's like
But you
vegetarian.
they have vegan options.
Oh
and
yeah, they do. A lot of vegan options.
Their Swami bowl is so good.
Oh my
Now
god.
I want to go there and eat their Swami bowl.
I haven't had that.
So it's like a green curry dressing. It's like a sweet green curry made with coconut milk, and oh my god. Anyway, okay, so I obviously haven't finished eating dinner. I need to go do that.
I'm getting yelled at too. It's
gosh.
7:05.
Yeah, I think we could just go on all night.
Probably. Talking about food. I could get my kid in. If I bring my kid in here, she could talk about food on stage for 20 hours straight. It's the only thing she likes to talk about. So anyway. All right, ladies. Well, have a wonderful rest of your night. And if you need anything, let me know. And I'll see you guys soon.
All righty.
Thank
Bye,
you.
guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.
I can't find the end button there.